in the parking lot right here behind me. That is where this whole scene first started. Like you said, they said that the gunman was in his car and got out of his car and started shooting randomly in the parking lot. As you can see, it is starting to get a little bit cleaned up. We're seeing some crime scene tape getting taken down. They are towing a car away. We're not sure whose car that is. The active scene here behind me. Literally seconds ago, we just got done talking with the Assistant Fire Chief, Norm Loudermilk. He says that this was a commercial building on the bottom and an apartment building on the second floor. Now, as you can see, there are still flames shooting out of the top of this building. This area of loose dirt here is where the start of something new happened today. Told me that they were going inside to look for that man. They think that he's hiding somewhere in that house. They were going back to a shed that's in the back. They did get a ladder out of that shed and brought it back into the house. K-9 is out, so they're doing everything they can to try and get this man out of the house now. This is now the 5th day that something has been going on in front of the Vigo County Courthouse. Earlier, they're gathered here in front of the courthouse, and then they marched down the bridge toward West Terre, Haute and made their way back, and now they're back here. If you just take a look here behind me. Right now, it is up to parents whether they send their students to school with a mask or if they choose not to. But if they lose in court, they will have to require face masks for everyone in the school. A nationwide shortage of everyday household items like meat and flour have actually helped some local businesses have their best season yet. These cardboard boxes here are the only thing that's keeping people in Clinton safe and warm tonight into Saturday morning. They're out here raising awareness for homelessness and hunger. Plus, we went through a mask shortage. Hand sanitizer and cleaning supplies also out of stock. We also saw a shortage of coin. And of course, the shortage of toilet paper. Now, this is the 10th execution that we have covered for you here in Terre Haute. So we wanted to try and show you what we see inside the execution chambers. If you take a look here at the screen behind me, this is the execution chambers. Now, this view is from a Bureau of Prisons federal employee who stands right here next to the gurney. New York is being hit hard by the coronavirus, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. One doctor in New York, originally from Washington, Indiana, says he doesn't want his present to become our future. You may remember this name.
Today, defensive end Ben Obaseki was named the Missouri Valley Conference Defensive Player of the Week.
A defensive lineman for Indiana State football and Washington High School, Ben Obaseki grew up in the Wabash Valley.
Really grew to fall in love with the community there, and you know, it will always be a part of me.
But now, instead of working on tackling the quarterback on the field, he's working on tackling this virus in the medical field.
I'm in the middle of my second year of a 3-year residency program for emergency medicine, and I'm doing this in Brooklyn, New York.
New York, the epicenter of the COVID-19 pandemic.
A lot of the people I work with, some of the older attendings, will say that they've never seen anything like this in their career, and these are people who have been practicing for 20, 30, and 40 years.
He says right now patients are waiting in lines just to get seen. He says they don't have enough equipment, they're understaffed and overwhelmed.
Though there are warnings, I'm not sure that we're hearing those warnings as we should have, and because of that now we're behind the ball. With things like COVID and viruses such as COVID, it's really dangerous to get behind the curve, because once it gets going, it's very hard to catch up and to gain ground with it.
So why does all of that matter to you in the Wabash Valley? Obaseki says New York has over 70 acute care facilities. They thought it would be enough and they would be okay.
Just thinking of the hospitals in my community where I grew up, I just hope and wonder, do they have the resources necessary to handle a large influx of people if it comes to that? And I hope they do, but you know, I fear they don't.
He says he doesn't want what's happening in New York, what he's experiencing firsthand, to happen in small communities like here.
I'm hoping me speaking and giving my message across to my hometown and my home community, that people will hear this warning and really take it to heart. But time will tell what happens, and what happens is going to depend in large part on how seriously we take this.
Right now, predictions are 100 to 200,000 deaths in the U.S. by the time this is all over. Obaseki says if we don't start taking this seriously, we could see closer to 200,000 deaths, or maybe even more. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Sarah Lehman, News 10. Back to you.
are peaceful. We are peaceful. We are peaceful.
A simple message.
Trying to have our voices heard, but a big part of getting our voices heard is making sure that we do it right.
To make sure the message they're preaching
allow us to spread the love, allow us to spread the unity, and to be together on one accord.
Is cast in a good light.
I'm from this community. My kids play Little League here. I love this community, so I'm trying to be out here to make sure that, like, you know, some of the things that can be like avoided are avoided. Like, it stays positive and it stays focused.
Shane Edmond lives right here in Terre Haute. He says he's not only asking for peace from the protesters, but from officers too.
And I pray that God will, you know, bless the officers in our community to treat us rationally. You know, I understand irrational behavior. I understand violence. That's no good. But if we're being peaceful, then just treat us, you know, we love this community too. We know a lot of them. We're all from the same community. This isn't a bigger city where these are cops that aren't from here. You know, they're neighbors. So I'm just hoping for the best on all sides.
Protesters of all ages and backgrounds have been out to support. Edmond says he's been out a few times. Wednesday, he brought his daughters.
I want them to see this, and I want them to know that this is a historic time.
A mother from Terre Haute brought her son. She says she's protesting for him.
So I'm only here to protest out of fear for my children and out of fear for them being able to have equality.
And to Edmond, being peaceful means more than just spreading the message. Earlier when they were all walking, you were saying, let's be peaceful, let's be peaceful. What does that mean to you?
It means everything. It means lives.
Protesters say they're going to continue to be in front of the courthouse every day. They say they don't want people to forget their message. Reporting in Terre Haute, I'm Sarah Lehman, News 10.
Liam on 3. 1, 2, 3, Liam!
A name that echoed through the park.
Liam was a big part of this league. He loved football.
Liam Pritchard was just 7 years old. He was recently taken off life support and passed away. But he was a big part of the Boys and Girls Club and their youth football league.
He always smiled. And he was a great kid, and he was very, very much loved.
Liam played football and was on the Raiders team. Wednesday night, his team had a game to play. Hundreds of players, coaches, and community members showed up to honor Liam and show support for his team and his family.
His team is playing tonight. We want to show these young kids that everybody supports them, is behind them, and Liam's not forgotten. And I think you see the crowd that wanted to come and show their support tonight for him.
Say we miss you, Liam.
Boys and Girls Club CEO Trent Miles says Liam will always be in their hearts.
It's just tough. It's a hard thing to realize, but again, he's with us. He's loved.